The Vietnam War is famous for its brutal and intense battles. Also witness some of the most daring and dramatic rescue missions in military history. Get ready for a wild ride through one of the Vietnam War's craziest rescue missions. Navy SEAL Lieutenant Thomas Norris and Petty Officer 3rd Class Nguyen Van Kiet didn't just break the mold, they shattered it. From dodging enemy tanks disguised as fishermen to a last-minute getaway that rivals any action movie, this is the epic tale of the Bat-21 Bravo rescue. Buckle up, folks, it's going to be one heck of a story. Let's dive in. The night mission begins. As night fell on April 12, 1972, Navy SEAL Lieutenant Thomas Norris and Petty Officer 3rd Class Nguyen Van Kiet were preparing for their third rescue attempt. Their mission, extract Air Force Lieutenant Colonel Isial Gene Hambleton, callsign Bat-21 Bravo, from behind enemy lines. Hambleton, a 53-year-old skilled and experienced pilot with critical intelligence, had been evading capture for over a week. His condition was deteriorating, and Norris knew that time was running out. Disguised as local fishermen, Norris and Nguyen set out in a small boat and ventured deep into enemy territory. The darkness provided some concealment, but the sounds of enemy soldiers and tank engines. Paddling upriver, they were acutely aware that their disguises might not hold under scrutiny. They pressed on, knowing they had to navigate the perilous journey back through enemy territory once they found Hambleton. The Easter Offensive. By the spring of 1972, there were not many American combat troops left in Vietnam. Instead, military advisors were preparing the South Vietnamese to continue the fight alone. The North saw an opportunity and launched a full-blown invasion known as the Easter Offensive, sending troops, vehicles, and artillery across the demilitarized zone. In response, America launched B-52 Stratofortress bombers and EB-66 electronic warfare aircraft. On April 2nd, news broke that an EB-66 had been shot down behind North Vietnamese lines. The crash killed many people, but Hambleton, callsign Bat-21 Bravo, was the only one who made it out alive. He was trapped behind 30,000 enemy troops who were heavily armored. However, the 53-year-old man's rescue was the most important thing on the Air Force's list, because he had direct knowledge of important classified information and was exceptionally skilled at using ground-to-air missiles. A series of failed rescues. The Vietnam War's biggest and deadliest search and rescue mission began, and it was a disaster right from the start. Over 6 days, rescue efforts killed over a dozen people and damaged or destroyed 6 planes. One mission led to 2 Americans being taken prisoner, while Air Force First Lieutenant Mark Clark became stranded. The Air Force now had to rescue both Clark and Hambleton. By April 7th, it was clear that an air rescue was out of the question. The next day, Marine Colonel Albert Gray suggested a secret rescue mission on land. With his experience working with South Vietnamese teams, Thomas Norris, one of the few remaining Navy SEALs in Vietnam, was chosen for the mission. The ground operation and a successful extraction. On the night of April 10, 1972, Thomas Norris led the mission with a team of 5 Vietnamese SEALs to rescue Lieutenant Colonel Hambleton and Lieutenant Mark Clark from behind enemy lines. The original plan was for the 6-man team to swim upriver against the current to meet Clark, who would float downstream to them. However, the current was too strong, forcing the team to adapt and move overland along the riverbanks instead. Progressing slowly and cautiously, they navigated through columns of enemy tanks, trucks, and frequent patrols, fully aware that a single misstep could be fatal. By the end of the night, the team had maneuvered 1.2 miles behind enemy lines and detected Clark's movements. At daybreak, Norris found Clark hiding along the riverbank. Assuring the pilot of his safety, Norris led the now 7-man team back to their forward operating base. However, the mission was far from over. Despite the overwhelming presence of well-armed enemy forces, Norris and his men were prepared to go back out into danger. Their mission was incomplete as they still needed to rescue another American trapped behind enemy lines. The critical night and overcoming fear. On the night of April 11th, as Norris and his team prepared to search for Hambleton, the enemy launched a devastating attack on their base. Hundreds of shells rained down, plunging the ARVN outpost into chaos. The surprise assault resulted in 2 immediate casualties from Norris's team. Despite the destruction and loss, Norris and the remaining 3 team members were resolute in their mission. They devised a new plan and set out under the cover of darkness on April 12th, heading upriver more than 2.5 miles into the demilitarized zone to rescue Bat-21 Bravo. As the SEALs advanced, they realized the area was heavily fortified with enemy forces. 2 team members, gripped by fear, hesitated to continue. Norris convinced them that their best chance for survival was to stay united. The team pressed on, but faced another setback at dawn. After 2 failed attempts to reach Hambleton, they were forced to retreat. They knew Hambleton's situation was worsening rapidly. Communicating sporadically with the Air Force Forward Air Controller, they learned that the 53-year-old was growing weak and disoriented. There was not much time left. The final rescue attempt. On their 3rd attempt, aware that 2 of their men were too frightened and could become liabilities, Norris and Petty Officer 3rd Class Nguyen Van Kiet were the only SEALs determined to proceed with the mission. They received precise details on Hambleton's location from a forward air controller. For their boldest effort yet, the duo disguised themselves as fishermen and spent the night floating in a sampan, a small Vietnamese canoe, stealthily navigating past numerous enemy encampments. At dawn, they reached the location where Hambleton was believed to be. After nearly 12 grueling days in the jungle, Bat-21 Bravo was found in a dire state, having lost 45 pounds and suffering from a broken wrist. Despite the odds, the bravery and determination of Norris and Kiet led them to successfully locate and rescue the severely weakened airman. The perilous journey back. Norris and Kiet swiftly placed the delirious, injured pilot in the sampan, covering him with life vests, bamboo, and vegetation. They began their perilous journey, sneaking past enemy rocket positions and evading a North Vietnamese patrol. As daylight approached, Norris realized their disguise wouldn't hold much longer. After notifying the base that Bat-21 Bravo was recovered, the aircraft stood by to provide fire support if needed. As the trio neared the forward operating base, their sampan came under heavy machine gun fire from a North Vietnamese bunker. Knowing they were close to completing their mission, Norris beached the vessel and told the men to hide. He called in an airstrike on the enemy bunker, which also created a smoke screen. With this cover, the trio had a chance to get back into the sampan and made a final rush to safety. Near the base, Hambleton, too injured to walk, was carried by South Vietnamese soldiers to safety and prepared for evacuation. After returning, with Hambleton and Clark safe and receiving medical care, Norris was approached by a CBS News reporter. The reporter, shocked by the SEALs' 3 trips into the battle, said, "It must have been rough out there. I bet you wouldn't do that again." Without hesitation, Norris replied, "An American was down in enemy territory. Of course I'd do it again." A hero's sacrifice and the legacy of bravery. 6 months after Norris's heroic actions, the area fell deeper under North Vietnamese control, making intelligence gathering crucial. On October 31st, Norris, 3 South Vietnamese SEALs, and Petty Officer Michael Thornton ventured into the jungle near the demilitarized zone for reconnaissance. As night descended, they inadvertently strayed 5 miles into North Vietnam, where they were discovered by a small enemy patrol that soon escalated into a 300-strong force. For nearly 4 hours, they fought valiantly before deciding to retreat. Norris, covering their rear, was wounded in the head, incapacitating him. Despite his injuries, Thornton refused to leave Norris behind. He carried Norris and another injured teammate through gunfire and swam to safety, supporting them for over 2 hours until rescue. Thornton received the Medal of Honor on October 15, 1973. Despite severe injuries, Norris recovered and later joined the FBI, contributing to the hostage rescue team for 2 decades. In 1976, he was awarded the Medal of Honor by President Gerald R. Ford, humbly dedicating it to his comrades. Their courage in the rescue of Bat-21 Bravo remains a poignant symbol of sacrifice and valor in the Vietnam War. That's all for today's video. If you liked this video, make sure to check our next one. Thanks for watching.